High-paying contracts can either be your ticket to a player who will take you to the Stanley Cup Finals or get you to sell your players to cover up the debts of a useless contract. And no, we're not talking about you, Tyler Seguin. Here are the highest-paid players in the 2022 NHL season. Jamie Benn, Stars. After winning the Art Ross Trophy in 2015 and having an even stronger season in 2016, the Stars offered their captain an 8-year, $76 million contract extension. Ben hasn't been the same dynamic attacking player in recent seasons, failing to score 20 goals in each of the last 3 seasons. The 33-year-old has 2 years left on his contract. Nikita Kucherov, Lightning. Back in 2018, one of the game's top wings agreed to an 8-year, $76 million contract extension with the Lightning. Kucherov has now helped Tampa Bay win 2 Stanley Cups, so the decision clearly paid off. Since 2016-2017, he's averaged more than a point per game and has twice scored more than 100 points. Zach Werenski, Blue Jackets. The first year of Werenski's 6-year, $57.5 million contract began last season. After the Blue Jackets moved away Seth Jones, Werenski became the team's #1 defenseman, earning him a well-deserved raise. He has 237 points in 403 games with Columbus in his brief career. Mark Stone, Golden Knights. Stone inked an 8-year, $76 million contract deal with the Golden Knights just a few weeks after being moved from the Senators to them in 2019. While he only played in 37 games last season due to injury, the winger has delivered for the Golden Knights, scoring 165 points in 175 games. Johnny Gaudreau, Blue Jackets. We thought Gaudreau had a decent chance of making this list, and he did so by signing a massive contract with Columbus. The winger reportedly turned down an offer from the Flames, who reportedly offered him a $10.5 million contract. Gaudreau, 28, had a breakout season last year, scoring 115 points. He was obviously compensated like a 100-point player. Braden Point, Lightning. Point was handed an 8-year, $76 million contract extension by the Lightning after leading the playoffs in points in back-to-back seasons. Point has been a key component of the team's long-term success in recent seasons. He has 368 points in 417 games with the Lightning as of last season. Tyler Seguin, Toronto Maple Leafs. Seguin, one of 2 stars on this list, inked an 8-year, $78.8 million contract in the summer of 2018. He has just completed his 5th consecutive season with at least 70 points. In the 4 years since the deal was signed, Seguin has yet to reach that benchmark. He's now over 30 years old and has been injured, but he's still signed for 4 more years. Unlike NHL players, we don't require that much effort to be happy. Just subscribing to our channel will do the trick. Charlie McAvoy, Bruins. McAvoy, one of the league's best young defensemen, signed a long-term contract with the Bruins last summer, inking him to an 8-year, $76 million contract that began last fall. He's coming off his greatest season yet, with 178 points in 313 games with Boston. Jonathan Toews, Blackhawks. Toews inked the same contract Kane signed on the same day in 2014 for 8 years and $84 million. Toews, like Kane, is certainly looking for a shot to win somewhere other than with the Blackhawks. His worth, however, is not nearly as high as Kane's. He missed the 2020-2021 season due to health difficulties and is coming off a 37-point season last year. Carey Price, Canadiens. Price has the highest AAV of any goaltender at $10.5 million. In the summer of 2017, he and the Canadiens agreed to an 8-year, $84 million agreement, just 2 seasons after winning the Hart Trophy as league MVP, a rare for a goaltender. Price was 30 when he signed the contract, and as some predicted, age is catching up with him. He missed the majority of the last season while recovering from knee surgery, and his future status is unknown. Price's contract has 3 years left on it. Sergei Bobrovsky, Panthers. Another Panther who received a large contract, Bobrovsky and the Panthers agreed to a 7-year, $70 million contract during the 2019 free agency period. After an outstanding few seasons with the Blue Jackets when he won 2 Vezinas, he was unable to replicate that success with Florida. He had a 2.93 goals against average and a .906 save percentage in 3 seasons with the Panthers. Anze Kopitar, Kings. Following 2 Stanley Cup victories with the Kings, Kopitar signed an 8-year, $80 million contract deal in 2016. Since then, the club has been through some difficult times, but the great two-way centre has been a consistent force in the middle for Los Angeles. The Kings captain's contract is up in 1 year. Jack Eichel, Golden Knights. When Eichel signed his 8-year, $80 million contract in 2017, the Sabres were securing their future star, or so they reasoned. Following some conflict with the organization as a result of neck surgery, the two sides decided to part ways when he was traded to the Golden Knights this past autumn. When healthy, Eichel has proven he can be one of the game's bright young stars, and the Golden Knights are hopeful he will be the elite center the Sabres hoped for when they handed him his big contract at 20. Alexander Barkov, Panthers. This season is the second year of Barkov's 8-year, $80 million contract extension with the Panthers, which he signed in the autumn. The Florida captain has become one of the league's greatest two-way centers, having scored 88 points in 2021-22. With Barkov under contract for another 8 seasons, the Panthers have their top-line center and leader for the foreseeable future. Mitch Marner, Maple Leafs. Only a few months after Matthews signed his agreement, the Maple Leafs inked Marner to a 6-year, $65.3 million contract extension. He had merely scored 94 points the previous season. Marner has shown to be worth the enormous money, averaging more over a point per game in the 3 seasons after his contract. In 427 games with the team, he has 455 points. Drew Doughty, Kings. Similar to Carlson, Doughty was coming off a career year with 60 points when he signed his massive contract, 8 years, $88 million with the Kings. Unfortunately for the Kings, he hasn't finished the season with the same level of production since. Last year, he averaged just under a point per game, but only appeared in 39 games due to a right knee injury and later wrist surgery. He's 33 years old and has 4 years left on his deal. John Tavares, Maple Leafs. The Islanders missed out on another top free agent, this time with Tavares 1 year before the Panarin trade. The captain chose to sign a 7-year, $77 million contract with his hometown Maple Leafs. He set a new career best in goals, 47, and points, 47, in his debut year in Toronto, 88. Tavares has been a steady second-line center for the Leafs since joining, scoring 274 points in 280 games. Erik Karlsson, Sharks. Karlsson signed an 8-year, $92 million contract with the Sharks after being acquired in a trade with the Senators. He was one of the league's top offensive defensemen at the time. However, his time in San Jose has been marred by injuries and lackluster on-ice performance, with Karlsson failing to score 40 points in each of the last 2 seasons. To make matters worse, he's already 33 years old and has 4 years remaining on his contract. Auston Matthews, Maple Leafs. Matthews is one of only a few Maple Leafs players on our list, but he's shown to be worth every penny. In February of 2019, Toronto signed Matthews to a 5-year agreement with an AAV of about $11.64 million. He just won his second Rocket Richard Trophy in a row for leading the league in goals. He became only the 3rd player in the salary cap era to reach 60 goals this season. Artemi Panarin, Rangers. Panarin was the talk of free agency in 2019 and chose to sign with the Rangers on a 7-year, $81.5 million contract. According to sources, he would have gotten a better deal from the Islanders but chose their rivals instead. Panarin has 249 points in 186 games with New York over 3 seasons since signing. Connor McDavid, Oilers. It should come as no surprise that the best player in the NHL earns the most money. McDavid signed an 8-year, $100 million contract with the Oilers after winning his first Art Ross, Hart and Ted Lindsay awards in 2016-2017. He's since added 3 additional Art Ross trophies, 2 Ted Lindsay awards and a Hart trophy to his collection. He's coming off back-to-back seasons with 100-plus points. If you're interested in how stars like Auston Matthews spend their money, click the video on the screen.